Hello and welcome to episode 95 of the FPL Hangover Podcast, where we raise the bar and lower the tone on things FPL related. This is episode 95. We are recording on the 14th of December, and it's all rush this week. The Gameweek 13 deadline is less than 24 hours away, so this time tomorrow evening we'll all be probably crying ourselves to sleep as per usual. But yeah, it's all quickly coming at us now. Christmas is just around the corner. Silly season has begun. And yeah, we're going to hit you with some Game Week 13 preview, a bit of a reaction to Game Week 12, and we're also going to look ahead to Game Week 14 because yeah, we're not doing another fucking episode after Wednesday night. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. But before I can continue, allow me to introduce a man who has recently just joined the Big Boys Club. My podcast partner in crime, SEAMUS. It's been a pretty momentous week for you. How are you getting on, my friend?
Yeah, it's been a momentous week. My first red arrow in 6, I think. 7.
Unlucky,
That's what
brother.
I assume that's what you're alluding to.
What else? This is an FPL podcast. What else could we possibly be talking about?
Yeah, it's I have actually been a bad content creator. I don't even know I should call myself a content creator. I struggle to say the words, but a bad podcast partner anyway this week because I've watched very little football because I've been busy with IRL stuff in real life. I have bought my first home, so I'm a homeowner.
Boom! Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of taken up a lot of my weekend. So I've seen a grand total of 1.5 games of this week's games.
I think you're allowed. When there's a big, massive, milestone moment in your life, you're allowed to miss a bit of football, especially I was going to say especially the Man United derby, but that was probably the one match you fucking watched.
That was the one game I watched, and it was the worst, probably one of the worst games of the season. Could not believe how Pep did not really want to attack United. I guess I can see how he was like, well, the last time we did this last season, they just counterattacked us. And the last couple of times, they just counterattacked us. I think we beat them 3 times out of 4 last season.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to play into that, but show a little attacking intervention. United, the last few games have been poor. They were just on the back of a defeat. You've been knocked out of the Champions League. It was really there for them. And yeah, it was just a dull game.
But let's not start the podcast on that shit, because that's literally like kind of go away from me material for FPL in regards, especially for Man United fans, as far as I'm concerned. But more specifically, Game Week 12, how did that go for you? House buying aside.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a great game. I got bailed out of it in the very last game of the game week. The Leicester game really pulled me up. So I ended up with 51 points -4, so that's 47. Game week rank of 4.1 million. A red arrow of about just under 300,000 places. So I was just outside 1 million. I'd had, what did I say? 6 consecutive green arrows. I did 7 consecutive green arrows, and this is my first red. So I'd gone from 3 million down to just outside 1 million. I was hoping to break into the 6 digits this week, but it's dropped down about 300k. My points came from Bruno and Fernandes got cancelled out in that match I was telling you about. Grealish did nothing. My midfield did nothing at all. Major downside, captained Mane. So if you were listening to last week's pod, it was all about bringing in Salah.
Yeah, let's rewind actually.
For a -4.
What's as you said, all last week, all anyone could talk about was Mohamed Salah and what could you do to bring him into your team? But you said, here's the script, out the window. I'm gonna do my own thing, and you got in Mane. Talk us through that actually, because that's
I can.
You fucking better.
Well,
that's twice this season. I would like to just point out that you've gone Mane over Salah.
I put my balls in a chopping block twice this season by going for him. Well, look, I thought this week, the midweek game. So Klopp has a lot to answer for this move because he started Salah in a dead rubber game, not only playing him and starting him, but keeping him on the entire duration of the match. Not 90 minutes. It ended up being 98 minutes or 99 minutes, I believe, in a dead rubber, meaningless game in the Champions League against Midtjylland, or whatever you pronounce your name. And I was like, okay, well, look, that means he's definitely going to get reduced minutes at the weekend. The way their games are coming up, they had who they just play? Fulham on the Sunday. Then they had a Wednesday game against Spurs, which is always going to be their priority because that's kind of a top of the table clash, so to speak. And then they had Crystal Palace on a Saturday morning game next Saturday, where there's only like 2 day turnaround time, 2 days rest.
Yeah, I
So I was
get
like,
it.
he's definitely going to be rested in one of these games, in
Yeah.
my own head.
But isn't
Now,
Mane also going to be rested in one of them? I know he's already been rested, so you
I
knew
don't.
Fulham.
I honestly don't think he would be rested. That's the whole point because he was rested last Wednesday, whereas
Okay.
there's no way Salah is going to play 4. He could play 3, and he's played 2 now. I always
Yeah.
knew. So I thought this was to be the game he'd get taken off at, and especially with Jota there. Now it turns out, and this came out and emerged on the Friday, that Jota had a bit of a knock, and I was like, oh, a bit of a knock. What does that mean? Um, I'd already decided that, there was no talk of him being out, but then it emerged Saturday after the deadline that he's going to be out for. He's not even going to make the game. So I thought,
Yeah.
bit of a knock. Okay, so maybe he won't start. Maybe he'll get some minutes. Maybe he will start. Maybe it's only a bit of a knock. But no, this was a knock that's going to root him out for weeks.
Was this
Like,
prior to you making the move to Salah or to
all I
Mane?
knew, yeah, I knew he had a bit of a knock, but that's all it was, a bit of a knock. Like he didn't have a flag or anything like that. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, there's no mention of him being out of the squad. If I'd heard there and then he was out of the squad, Salah in. Okay, even with the thought of him getting reduced minutes, just to protect myself, knowing how highly owned he'd be. But I thought, okay, Salah, even if he does start, he'll definitely start on Spurs. Okay, he will get reduced minutes. He'll come off 65 minutes or so, maybe 70 minutes against Fulham, especially if they're a few goals up. And I just was like, people are going to forget how good Mane actually is as a player. Like he hasn't turned into a bad player. I looked at the stats and their non-penalty XG and XA and XGI goal involvement are pretty much identical, or at least they were before this game.
Hadn't scored in 6 Premier League games though.
Hadn't scored, but like I thought, yeah, I know, but I thought he was going to not going to finish the season on 4 goals, and he's going to get goals again, and people are going to go, oh yeah, remember Mane? He was good.
Yeah,
so my whole thing was basically I thought Mane. I was only going to captain the player for one game week of the next 3, and that was this game.
Yeah,
and then I was happy not going to captain anyone against Spurs, and then if Salah did play these next 2 games, there was an increased chance, especially with only 2 days off, that he would be rested against Crystal Palace next Saturday. I thought Mane, having had a rest, could be okay. So I thought, look, Mane will probably start all 3. Salah probably only start 2, and he could be rested. So look, 1 week punt, I'll put it on here. The only thing to worry about, once again, really penalties. And I think it showed actually in the performance. Salah was very lethargic. I only saw the second. That was the other game I saw half of. I saw the second half of that game, but Salah looked like he was doing nothing.
So
and
you would have
lucky,
seen the fact that he was about to get subbed off before the penalty?
Yeah, he was lucky because he could have been off the pitch before Curtis Jones was pulled down, and then what a stupid fucking penalty to give away. But look, there's a few of those this season, very soft, but probably by the way penalties have been given this season, probably it's a penalty. Like it hits his elbow. It's not like
we're not going to get into whether it's a penalty or not. It is a penalty.
Yeah.
It was a penalty. But no, I mean, look, I can completely it is a little. I think I was definitely feeling like a little like I got off. I got away with it a little bit. He scored his goal and now he's coming off. Especially once you heard that, he was on the fringes of being replaced anyway. So you're like, oh, okay, fuck. Yeah. Got away with it a little bit. My week wasn't too bad either. I got a green arrow, so I can't complain. I've jumped up another 100k, and I've got myself into the top, 296? So I'm in the 300k mark now. 67 week overall rank for me. And Captain Salah, as we kind of mentioned, I had Souček. He's been delivering the goods. Calvert-Lewin, Bamford, Son, Target got me a clean sheet, and Justin with a big haul. You would have got a lot of that Leicester points as well. So I suppose the saving grace, just to go back to your own team for a second, Seamus, is that your big decision this week, which paid off, was keeping Vardy. You did say it last week. You said home match against Brighton, really plum fixture for him to deliver. It's not like he's been delivering 2-point returns and stuff. He has been producing some attacking returns, maybe not the stuff you would have wanted against the likes of Fulham, but we saw what Fulham did to Liverpool, and the City match wasn't exactly a walkover for them either. So you were delighted, I'd say, to see him coming away with 2 assists and a goal.
That's the thing. Yeah, we have to recognize that Fulham probably isn't as easy a fixture right now at this very moment as it was at the start of the season. They've kind of got their act together and they've kind of got a bit of momentum. So that played out in the Liverpool game. Liverpool were very lucky to get anything against Fulham. Once they got the lead, they looked like they were going to keep it. But yeah, I said that selling Vardy this week, which a lot of people did to get Salah, was a big risk. I didn't want to do it. I had to sacrifice Calvert-Lewin to do it. Now Calvert-Lewin got 5, but Vardy got 13, and I'm happy to have him again against Everton this week. Although Everton really showed up against Chelsea, and I wasn't expecting that. They kept their first clean sheet possibly of the season. No, they kept one against Spurs.
Entirely fair to compare Calvert-Lewin to Vardy. You know, it's like,
yeah, but there is a price difference for that very reason. You know, Vardy is a lot more established, and that's why he's more expensive. But yeah,
you're going to be happy, obviously, with the upcoming fixtures for Leicester. Are you? Let me say this now. I haven't said this to you off air, but I'm looking at your team, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's got Vardy in there. Vardy's going to stay in for a little bit of a while, and then the Spurs fixtures change in what's it, 2 game week 16. And become ridiculously appetizing. You have no Spurs coverage, so I assume Vardy sits there until you move him to Kane.
No, actually, Vardy is probably going to become Son, I would think.
That's impossible.
Yeah, no, you kind of, yeah.
Okay, so who do you get rid of? So Grealish?
Oh, I'm getting rid of Vardy. Well, I'm not keeping him for.
No, but I mean, of your
Spurs game or
midfield.
Yeah, but so like I'm keeping Vardy for this game week in game week 13, okay, against Everton at home. All right, even though he hasn't been great at home. Then he's got Spurs away, who've been very tight this season, and then he's got and Leicester have been really up and down. Like they were absolutely useless. They were brilliant against Man City and useless against Liverpool. So I don't know what kind of team are going to come out against them. And I kind of sick of having so many players, so I'm going to start coming off them. But I didn't want to get rid of Vardy because before he got some points, I knew he had more points in him. And I think he'll have some against Everton because defensively they have been poor. So let's see if they can keep it up after keeping Chelsea out. Yeah. But I'll get rid of him in game week. The plan is in game week 15. And I'll use that money to upgrade in midfield somewhere. So he's going to become, I'm going to try and go 4-4-2. And ultimately, yeah, I'm going to try and get Son back in, I think, for maybe Grealish in that spell.
I think I gave you the play, Seamus. I gave you the play to make. And
yeah, I mean, if I can get my fifth mid, I don't think I can. Stevens is my fifth mid. If I get my fifth mid to him, that'd be ideal. But that's crazy. And I also probably want to make Mane to Salah in a few weeks as well. So yeah, Vardy to actually, you know what? You put the idea about Vardy to Kane probably is just the easier way to do it.
Yeah, there you go. You're welcome. You can take that, Seamus. I've been having a pretty good run of fixtures lately. I've climbed up quite a bit, and I'm giving that to you.
You've smashed it. I was looking at you've been on the template that I would like to be on, and I think this is what a lot of people are looking to get at. Like, there was 6 points between us, I think, about 3 game weeks ago, and now there's 50 or so. So that'll tell you it's 53 actually. Now I've taken 1 hit in that time, but the rest of it has just been like the likes of Souček have been smashing it for you. He's your enabler, and he's actually been coming in with 9 points and stuff like that. So, I can't really get over how well you've been doing. So, you're talking about in game week 7, 2.6 million. Then it was 1.4, 900k, 870k, 380k, 296k. That's a phenomenal rise there without any hits in that time.
No hits, baby.
Because you did your wild card quite well and you set it up. You got Souček in back then. I've been talking weeks ago, but game week 3 and 4, I was like, when that West Ham fixture changes, I want to have Souček. And a lot of people like it.
Just to clarify, didn't get Souček in my wild card. I had Foden sitting there for the 2 matches in order to go to Souček in the game week that I did. So then when I got rid of Foden, who did pick up the 1 goal in those 2 matches, Souček delivered that week along with Mazuak, who's...
I remember that actually, yeah. So that was, But since then, you've been on Salah, Son, Fernandes, and Souček since game week 8. And then it was just a simple, I think Barkley you had in your team who got injured. Barkley was moved to KDB from, let's have a look here.
Kane to Bamford.
Yeah.
Barkley to De Bruyne.
So you've got the Salah, De Bruyne, Fernandes triple up with Son. And then Souček supporting him, who's been getting points, and then just going with the Calvert-Lewin Bamford attack since then. So that is the template front 7, I think, that I would love to be on. I think like is the way to go. Don't really. That's why I don't like having all the money in Vardy, even though he's been doing quite well. He's kind of keeping up with what's his name, Kane a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think I need to be on some like these. I've been backing against Spurs lately, and it was doing well for a while, but the last couple of weeks, them doing bits has been killing me. I don't know. I could think I have to cover one of them. Who I don't know. So yeah, but I think it should be like that's the template to be on, and that's kind of how you've been doing so well. You've just been on it early, and you had the foresight, and now you're in a place where you don't have to make transfers in your midfield, really. I mean, I don't think you're going to be transferring anyone in your midfield anytime soon, are you?
No, I'm not. I mean, I did say this to you actually beforehand that I got a bit lucky with the way the Villa fixture worked out, because my transfer 2 weeks ago or last game week was basically going to be was planned, and it was Son. I did the right amount of money. It's kind of what I did with my keeper thing. Like that was another big kind of haul this week, was Martinez delivering 11 points for his owners. Anyone that kept onto him through that Villa blank got their just desserts this week. They showed a bit of patience and a big 11-point return for Martinez. I wasn't one of those. I went from Martinez to Meslier because I didn't have to worry about midfield. I was pretty happy with my 5. Martin to Meslier, and then that made me like have that 0.1 in the bank, which would have allowed Son and Souček to Grealish and Jota. And thank fuck that didn't come to pass, because like I don't know how I'd still be doing a podcast if I had to sit down and face the music of that kind of nonsense. Just like I don't know.
Yeah, well, thank God one of us is doing well anyway. So you're flying. You're kind of there, right in the right position that you want to be in around Christmas time. I'm not. I like doing much better than I was a few weeks ago, and a couple more greeners. And my team, I think, is looking okay. I think, you might look at it and go, oh, you've got Mane, not Salah. But I think Mane is going to play against Spurs, and I think he's more likely to play against Crystal Palace. And when I'm not planning on captaining Salah, the only game of those games I would want to captain Salah was the one that's just gone. I was happy to kind of take a 1 week. I think Mane can outscore Salah when Salah mightn't even start. And, Mane, if he does start, he might only get 65 minutes. And I'm pretty sure Mane is going to get the full 90, which did happen. But yeah, didn't quite happen. He looked lively in parts, but Salah didn't look great at all.
I think you're trying to convince yourself there a bit, Seamus, now, if I must be honest.
No, I think the reasoning was sound. I think people forget that Mane can outscore Salah in any given game week. I mean, that can happen. It happened for the last 18 months before the season. All of last season and like 6 months of the season before that, Mane and Salah were pretty much scoring identical. Like, there was valid reasons why you go for one over the other. Now, price is closing up. There's no real valid reason over the season why you would go for Mane over Salah. But over a short few game weeks, I'm happy to go for it.
I get it. I really don't hope it works out, because I'm already looking forward to the end of the season review when we're able to go. Do you remember when you went Mane twice?
You kept going Mane over Salah. Yeah.
Once, yeah, you kept. And
I tell you what, it's not happening the third time. I'll stick with Mane for another couple of weeks, but he ain't coming back in. Like, I don't care if he's smashing in hat tricks. I'll be transferring in Son or something. We
know what your promises mean, Seamus. We've been here for the Hazard debacle of seasons past. But that was our game week, so I hope it didn't bore you too much. Before we move on to some questions, I would like to point out that this week... Oh, there we go. Classic unprofessional, sure. Yeah, didn't stick the phone on silent. But I would like to point out that I didn't just have a decent week in FPL. I mean, you'll take them all the time, and I'm delighted about it. But what really put the cherry on the top for Game Week 12 was a winning performance for me in FPL Crypto's top 6 picks. So he does his FPL picks for the week. Every week he's got a great YouTube channel there. I have a little image on the screen, but FPL Crypto, he's on Twitter, he's on YouTube. He's a great channel that he's recently started doing videos with at FPL Lens, Gabriel Lens, and they basically go down through your top players for that week. Really analytical style kind of presentation, but it looks lovely. Great video. And I've been entering that competition for weeks, and this was the week that came good. I'm after winning myself $10, I think, or euro. I can't remember. I think it was dollars. He's in Canada. So.
He's an Irish guy in Canada, in Ireland. He's back in Ireland now.
Oh, he's back in Ireland.
Yeah, he's back for Christmas, I think, or something. Yeah.
It's 10 some currency worth of Bitcoin, hence the FPL crypto, is on its way to me, on its way to us here at the FPL Hangover. Not just me, not just you, Seamus, but everyone listening to this. It's going into the FPL Hangover Fund, and this is our step towards, rich fame, stardom.
I was going to ask, how can we invest this year? I mean, it feels like something like Football Index probably the way to go. Can we invest cryptocurrency in Football Index? Does that work?
I don't know. Maybe you should check out how Football Index has been doing. But before, I know I won't be giving it to you to invest anyway. Put it that way. But FPL Crypto, I just wanted to give a shout out to his channel and advise you all that if I can win a few Bitcoin, then you can win a few. I don't even know if that's how you speak about Bitcoin. That's how unfamiliar I am with it. But I'm hoping Cahill will take me through and turn me into some kind of millionaire. That's what I feel about that right now. But that's it's been a pretty good game week 12. Let's move on. Let's see what all of ye have to say for yourselves, ladies and gents. Let's bring this all the way to the drunk tank. So,
who's up first?
Focus. What?
Who's up first?
Who's up first? I was just prepping the screen, Seamus. There's a lot more work nowadays that it's not just audio. And speaking of not just audio, if you're watching this on YouTube, give a subscribe, give a like, give a comment. There was a lot of nice comments this week. Really nice comments this week. I'll go into some of them in a bit more detail soon. I'm finding a place to struggle to put my cans. But one of the comments was regarding my little plug for some beer last week, which was the first time I'd ever done it. And you think, considering we're called the FPL Hangover and our logo has a pint glass and not a fucking football, which is something I don't know how it's happened, but it's been there for ages. You'd imagine I'd be doing the old beer thing a bit more, but I'm just too ignorant. To be honest with you, Seamus, I'm too ignorant to really talk about craft beer. But that won't stop me trying, because this week I'm sticking with the company, Seamus. I recommended it to you, just down the road from you in your local Topaz. I'm sure you can get it in all good beer supplier places. 8 Degrees Brewing again. This is one they didn't have last week. It's called Howling Gale. I bought it because of this is how I buy these beers. The name and the can. Yeah, I'm like, okay, this is a fancy looking thing. I usually look at the percentage, but it's limited down there.
I've made that mistake before, Jar. I went, this beer is 8%. I'll get this, and then realized it was a wino beer.
What could possibly be wrong when the beer slaps the volume right as the logo is the volume? Here you go. Who gives a shit what's in it? It's 8.3%.
It didn't say Tesco or something on it, so I just thought, and the can looked kind of fancy, but a bit plain. No, I wasn't in Tesco, but it looked kind of fancy, a bit plain. And then I realized, and the reason it's like $1.99 or $1.50 or whatever it was that it was absolute rocket fuel, and it hurt to drink. I drank most of it, and then I was like, then you pointed out it was wino drink, and I was like, this is why this is horrible, and this is obviously why I think one more of those, and I might have been,
brought to hospital.
Yeah.
One can only hope. But I'm pouring out this cool, refreshing beverage right now. And so shout out to whoever commented about the craft beer. You got a little more of it. Maybe I'll do more of this, Seamus. I'm not sure.
This is a segment, isn't that?
I don't know. Maybe. Probably. What doesn't turn into a segment in this show?
Love, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll endorse it.
Exactly. But let's get back on track. This week's Drunk Tank. Let's see what questions we have. First up, Seamus, this week. Tom Moriarty at one Tom Moriarty. He's the only one. Any love for any of the Fulham assets after 2 much improved performances and a couple of decent fixtures ahead? Call me crazy, but Decordova Reed looks like a decent differential to save a lot of funds. Just realised that wasn't even on the screen when I read it out, so apologies to the YouTube. But Seamus, Fulham, as we kind of alluded to a little bit earlier on, they have been improving a lot over the last couple of weeks. Now their fixtures are turning a little bit. I have the fixtures on the screen there, courtesy of Fantasy Football Scout. I would like you all to know that, we are not, I don't even know if we're allowed to be doing this. I haven't specifically asked for permission, but we are in the Scout Academy, and I have a lovely little plug there for for some memberships, 2021 memberships. Try it now. Less than 170 per month. See what I do here, Seamus. I just push this show in fantastic directions. I've just done.
This is how good you're. Just such a good affiliate. This is
that's that word. I knew you was on the tip of your tongue. I'm not even sure what it means anymore. But yeah, these are the fixtures from the scout list, and Fulham, Brighton, Newcastle, Sheffield United, and Spurs in the next 4.
Don't be confused thinking that Southampton at home is a good fixture. Southampton are really good this year. So it's really just a good fixture against Brighton, who look really good on the ball, and I enjoy watching them play, but they're terrible.
Sheffield, sorry, Southampton. Yeah.
Yeah. So Brighton in Gameweek 13 is good, and Newcastle away. Like, no one really likes going away to Newcastle. You got to travel up the country, from London. That's a big all fucking flight or whatever. Teams, they'll keep it tight. So that could go either way. I mean, it is a good fixture. I think you can win that, and I'm not sure the value of home and away this season. So that
soap opera, Seamus, will never lose value. Just so you know.
If I was going for anyone, though, it would be Lookman, Ademola Lookman. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists in the 9 games he's played so far, so he's kind of returning in almost half his games. He's looked good. He got an assist against Liverpool, scored against Leicester in Game Week 10. He scored against Sheffield in Game Week 5 as well. He missed the penalty, so if he hadn't missed that penalty against West Ham, he could be on more returns. Yeah, he'd be the guy I'd look for as potential, but if you wanted to get someone other than Souček, I'd still prefer Souček. I think he's the guy you go for 5 million.
If you wanted to get someone other than Souček, I'd still prefer Souček. I'm with you.
I would say if you wanted to go for someone other than Souček, he's the guy to go for, but I'd still prefer Souček. I should clarify that. But look, Decordova-Reid is actually somebody 5.3 that Tom is looking at. He's got 4 goals this season. I'm surprised to see that in 12 games. And he hasn't even got 12 starts. He's only got 10 starts, but he's started the last 6 in a row, and he's got 3 goals in that period and 1 assist. So yeah, I guess if you're looking at somebody, he's not too bad. What I remember is he played as a wing back basically almost against Leicester in Game Week 10, but they've got form and they've got a couple of good fixtures, so maybe he's a forward. He's better than Welbeck, I'd say that.
Possibly. I don't know if I would be using a forward slot on Fulham. I mean, I get you. If I was, probably maybe look to the likes of Cavallero. I didn't actually do any research on this, but is he a forward or a midfielder this year?
He's a midfielder. He's looked good when I've seen him as well. He's only got 1 goal this season, and he's started the last 4. But I just worry about
started the last 4. Yeah, but is Mitrovic going to get his place back? I don't think he is.
Well, Mitrovic had an injury. Mitrovic was dropped for I think tactically. I think he had a bit of an injury, but then he rolled his ankle midweek. So yeah, you think he's going to come back in, but if they're playing this well, maybe he just can't get back in the team. So yeah, who knows?
Yeah, no, I get you, Seamus. I mean, it's a perfectly valid question, Tom.
I think,
as I said,
yeah, Decordova-Reid if you're going for a third striker instead of Brewster, maybe. But I wouldn't be selling Bamford. I wouldn't be, if I could go for a bit more and get up to 6 million or 6.1. I'd get Adams, I'd get Watkins, I'd get Bamford. Whatever, these price guys are much better value.
I'd be the same as you, Seamus. I wouldn't be looking too closely at Fulham, but it is worth keeping an eye on, and they are coming into some decent fixture run. But yeah, after Tom, up next, FPL on Cork, Keane. You'll remember him from our FPL High Stool episode. He states, like many others, I'll be looking for a Jota replacement. I can afford almost 8.5 million for a replacement, but think the budget options are better. I've Grealish, by the way. Talk me into mid-priced option if you can. Otherwise, which budget player should be top of my list? So I've done it again. I actually haven't pulled the question down for the YouTube people, but the audio crowd are getting a great laugh off it.
You pull it up there while I.
Oh, it's there. Answer. No, the question's there. I just have the fucking thing at the top of the screen, so that it's just a big blank Twitter page. But yeah, no, Seamus, midfield budget options. I mean, I don't want this to turn into the Souček show, but it's looking very much like it, because when I see someone looking for a midfield option, and with West Ham's upcoming run of fixtures and their double game week in Game Week 19, isn't that correct, Seamus? Tell me I'm not talking shit.
West Ham have a double in Game Week 19. Yeah, that's the one fixture that's been confirmed. There's going to be more confirmed. As of today, there was the Europa League draw and the Champions League draw, I think, happened today. So they have a better idea what way fixtures are going to fit and who's got free weekends. So this should all become apparent in the next week or two.
Yeah.
What the
So
double
everything we
it's going to be blank
say,
18 as well.
yeah, everything we say is gonna have to be with the caveat of like there is a giant information belch gonna come into your nostrils pretty soon, and you're gonna taste it at the back of your throat. So you're grimacing, Seamus,
That's
but
visceral.
you know I'm telling the truth. But you're gonna taste it. So like everything we say is a bit of a caveat. But yeah, Cian, for me, Seamus, I'm saying Soucek, so check yourself before you wreck yourself. Whatever way you want to say it. What about you? Any midfield options you're looking at?
There's a few. I mean, like if you want to go down in that spot, I don't. He might already have a cheap fifth midfielder. He might want to go for that. I don't actually. He hasn't called out his team there, and I haven't put up. He's got Grealish. He was the first player I thought of.
Yeah.
I mean, the other player you could like go to midfielders and sort by total points. Zaha. He's been killing it this season. 7 goals, 3 assists. Fixtures aren't great, but he seems to be doing it. I wouldn't hold out much hope when he's got a home game against Liverpool, but he did score 2 goals against United, and they're at home, and Liverpool have been poor away from home this season. They just, that's what they lost away to Aston Villa. They dropped points away to Fulham. They drew away to Man City. That's where they're dropping points. They drew away to Brighton. So it's the away games they're struggling. So maybe playing on the counter attack would suit him well in that game. West Ham away, Villa away. And then Leicester at home, Sheffield United at home. I think I'd probably just not to complicate it too much and go for him for a while. If you wanted to think of the double game weeks coming up, someone like Bowen is a good option. Or look, Mahrez has got the fixtures. Do you want to play some Pep Roulette, Cian? I don't know, but they've got West Brom at home this week, Southampton away, and Newcastle at home. If you can't, if your team is set with the likes of De Bruyne already, Salah, Fernandez, and Son, if you got these guys and you're just looking to spend this, I would probably go for Mahrez over the likes of the other one you can kind of think of is Pulisic. Is the time for Pulisic to come in? But I just don't trust his hamstrings to hold out over the busy Christmas period, really. Maybe he will, and maybe he'll get goals. He's got a potential to explode, but I think I prefer Mahrez. Those are my options. Have I left any for you to discuss?
No, I think I'm just gonna keep playing my my Soucek, whatever you'd call it, bandwagon. Not gloating. It's not gloating, but it is kind of gloating because
who did I get? Salah or Bruno? Soucek.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, it worked out well for me, but I'm not gonna keep harping on about it. Next question. I hope that answered it a little bit for you there.
I'm gonna say I'd like to try Mahrez for a bit. I think Mahrez.
I'm sure you would, Seamus. At Atoms_nuclear Adams, you've heard that name for I don't know how many weeks in a row now. He's got another question. Number 1, 2 questions. Forget about Soucek. Is John Stones now proven to be the biggest bargain buy into that City defence? So first part, John Stones, Seamus. People are talking. The name is rumbling. It's a foul voice on the wind at the moment. When that foul voice is being cast by none other than Pep Guardiola. I'm not falling for it. I think he's a straight out trap, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
The FPL lexicon goes. No, fuck off. As soon as you get John Stones in, Laporte is going to start, or Garcia will get a run, or Ake will come back out of and you know what I mean?
Totally couldn't agree more. I think he's a huge trap. I mean, look what he's got, 20 points in 3 games, 6, 6, and 8 recently. Yeah, he's doing really well. I'm surprised he's even in the team, but Laporte is the best defender in that team, and Pep has just said Pep's rewarding him for playing well without making any mistakes. He's got a mistake in him. So it makes one mistake, he's bombed out of that team. Or he could just be rotated because of the Christmas period, and Laporte comes in and shows why he's the best centre half there. And they've got Ake, like you said. They didn't buy Ake for no reason. I think Garcia is injured at the minute, so he's not.
No, he came back. He played some minutes recently. Maybe he picked up another.
No, I think I read on Fantasy Scout today that Pep.
Another plug. You're welcome again, guys.
Yeah,
they
I'll
just keep coming.
Check it.
No, you don't need to. We'll take your word for it. But I think we're both in agreement, Seamus, in regards to rotation, City's defence. There are a couple of good options this year, I think, in regards to Ederson. Well, Ederson's obvious. You know what you're getting with Ederson. That's a whole different argument.
Don't make goalkeeper transfers.
We're not getting into the Ederson premium goalkeeper shite. But what we will get into is the likes of Cancelo, Kyle Walker, and Diaz all seeming really nailed on. I know they're more expensive than Stones,
Yeah.
but like they're not that much more expensive, and the returns are pretty similar to what
Yeah.
Stones has been
Stones
delivering.
isn't
So
getting goals. Stones is just
no,
getting assists. He's talking about the value. No, it's Diaz, Cancelo, and then in that order. And I don't really like any of the other ones because Walker's probably a bit too expensive. Uh,
yeah, I think price wise, Walker does kind of come maybe out of my viewings too, but in terms of security and the best assets, he's definitely in the top three. Ahead of Stones. So
yeah.
that's that nuclear. Don't get fucking trigger happy with it. Question 2, he says he's 2 free transfers. Should he transfer out Chilwell to Reece James this week and then use 2 transfers next week to get Ings and Suchek for Mahrez, Antonio? So this boy is thinking ahead. I have his team up there. Seamus, you probably can you see it?
I'm just
For the
pulling it up here on
listeners,
my side. I'm looking on my other monitor here. That's why I'm looking over to the side.
like basically it's your classic FPL team at the moment in regards to Calvert, Bamford, Salah, Grealish, Fernandez, Son, and he's also got Chilwell, Walker, Dallas, all these kind of really well balanced team that you're seeing someone nearly has either that player or a version of that player in their squad anyway, but he's kind of standouts to me are like the likes of Mahrez, Antonio, and that's kind of it. It's pretty similar to my own, so I'm obviously going to think it's a top class team. In regards to Ings and Suchek from Mahrez and Antonio, like 100%. If you can do that, but in regards to you
No,
know
I'm
what?
not.
No,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I
I'm.
think I mean, like, I like Reece James, and it's time to talk. I've even seen you in our group chat this week dropping some compliments towards Reece James. He's obviously turning your eye a small bit. Do you see him hit the post?
I've said so much. I've said it to you. I've said it on this episode or on this show like several weeks ago that Robertson to Reece James is my plan B. Like if I need 2 mil for some kind of move, maybe I'm turning Suchek into Grealish or something like that, which is possible, maybe with some other variations. Like James looks fucking to
Undroppable.
use it. Yeah, I mean he isn't undroppable because I guarantee you he
No,
will be dropped
but he
soon.
looks undroppable. He will actually
Yeah,
definitely miss the game over Christmas. I know that
yeah.
much. So I know I have to strengthen my bench because I can't. I'm going to have to be able to deal with that some week.
But
But
you don't think Chilwell to James, just for the sake of zero point 0.8 million, if it allows you to go Mahrez Antonio to Suchek Ings, you don't think that's a valid move?
it's very sideways. Like one Chelsea defender to another just to save zero point 0.8
What
million
that
to invest
specific move
elsewhere.
is, but it enables the bigger picture. Do you know?
No, I mean like Ings isn't essential. Their
When
games.
the fuck did he say are these players essential?
Well, he's getting him in because he thinks they're better. Like I would just hold on to Antonio.
He's got a ridiculously strong template in a good sense. It's not meant to be derogatory, but like template in the sense that you have so many of the must have players, and he's trying to look for an edge. I don't know. For
Yeah, look,
me,
I guess he's saying he's got 2 free transfers. So what? Like he doesn't want to waste a transfer. Like there's not
yeah,
much I would do here. I wouldn't touch his midfield. Yeah,
no.
Mahrez isn't. I'd rather De Bruyne over Mahrez, but I mean, unless you
That,
want to try and, I don't even think you can go from Antonio to Brewster to free up enough money to get to there. But
but I think
yeah,
Chilwell.
I think I'd be happy with Chilwell. I think I would. Yeah, I think I would just go Antonio to Adams if I'm honest. I think Adams
That's
isn't going to score as much as Ings, but I think per million points per million he will match him. Like I think I can easily see Ings getting 8 points the next game and what's his name?
yeah.
Adams getting 6 or 5 or something like that.
I think that's a fair point, Seamus. I think when I first read this question, I thought the exact same thing as you. I was just like, nope, just sort out Antonio. Antonio doesn't need to be there. Turn Mahrez into Suchek because that's the team of the fucking episode, and sort out Antonio. Mahrez and Suchek gives you 3.4 million to play around with. All of a sudden, who knows what you can do. But as we've talked through it, I actually quite like what he's suggesting, especially if he's happy to go without KDB. And you can't have everything, but
it's a really good, like it's not a I'm not I don't want to be talking
it's
shit.
too late.
Just
Seamus. It's too late,
for
man.
me
You've already
for me
crushed
I
it.
would just stick with Chilwell. But it is a fine move at the same time. Like it's not bad. He obviously really fancies Ings. Yeah, I just think like what's the scramble for getting Suchek in? I don't really understand that going Maris to Suchek. It just kind of seems a bit sideways. But then again, he's got the 2 free transfers. you got to try and use those transfers to try and find an edge. So I would, yeah,
Who are you gonna
maybe,
listen to
maybe.
here,
But
Nuclear? Mr.
you're all for it.
300k or Mr. What is
1.3.
it, 4 million or something?
I'm a million places behind you. I'm 1.3. You're 0.3. Yeah, maybe let's
I
jur on this one, Nuclear.
I gotta enjoy it while it lasts. That was one of my new season's resolutions actually this year,
Yeah.
was to just as an addendum to that, Adam says Stones is now looking a better bargain by this season than Suchek, so I had to ask that question. If only he keeps his place, so he kind of knows what the fuck we're talking about.
If he keeps his place, yeah. I doubt that he will,
Yeah.
especially over the busy Christmas period. All it takes is one mistake, and I think he's out of the team. And yeah.
But getting back to what I was saying there in regards to my new season resolution, resolution is basically was to just enjoy it, to the good bits a little bit more, because I have a tendency to skip over the good bits, wallow a little bit in the negative side. I'm not the kind of guy that gets really down about things, but like, you know yourself, I definitely focus, as everyone does, on the negative aspects a little bit more than the positive ones, and that was my thing this year, was like, enjoy the fucking weeks, brag about your score, throw a knife into someone else, you know, just enjoy it, because it comes back at you whether you want it to or not. That was my whole thing.
You might as well get the digs in while, you know, you're not the person on the ground getting kicked. So
exactly, fuck that,
because that's going to happen later in the season at some stage too. You're just hoping that you're in a good enough position. Yeah, man, that's what it's all about, you know.
Exactly.
I get disappointed when you don't stick the knife into me, you know. You should.
I felt like I was too gracious a lot last year, and it made no difference, because as soon as shit didn't go my way, everyone was just rubbing salt in my eyes, and I was just like, no, you know what, this year I'm fucking, apparently there's no honor among thieves, so, or FPL managers, so I'm just going headfirst into fucking banter, as they say. But Gavin O'Reilly at Gav Larlar, he's up next. All right, lads. Well, will Pep ruin my week by resting all three of my City players against West Brom? I've Cancelo, KDB, and Jesus. Yep, you can be guaranteed he will ruin your week, Gavin. In regards to Cancelo, KDB, and Jesus, I think you might be okay with Jesus. I don't know. There's a good chance all three of those get rested. I think Cancelo played against United. We've seen him rotating his fullbacks, and I expect Mendy to get some minutes against West Brom. So I do think Cancelo will be rested. KDB, obviously we don't know, but I'm wavering on my captain decision, which I wasn't 2 weeks ago, based on, you know, just how things are feeling in terms of minutes. He played the full match against United, so it's a possibility. And I think Jesus is kind of, he doesn't, like, playing with a number 9 up there is an entirely different City than without him. So I think he'd be hesitant to come away from him. And we've seen Aguero on the brink of return. He, you know, had a little cameo in the Champions League last week. He had gastronitis or gastrotinitis, whatever it's called, this week. So he wasn't even in the squad. So we don't know what kind of, you know, situations he's in. He will take some minutes off Jesus, but whether it's against West Brom, I'm not really sure. Have you any little pearls of wisdom to add to that?
Yeah,
Shams?
Pep has said that, yeah, like you said, he's back in full training now, and he's trained all week. He had the gastroenteritis, whatever it's called, he had a stomach bug, I guess.
I'm glad you stumbled on that too, because
yeah, I'm not an MD, so
I'm not a doctor.
But yeah, I was going to say, I would like to just go, yeah, he's gonna ruin your week by resting all three midweek. But then I realized, and I thought back to it, I was like, actually, they all got rested at the weekend, because that game against United, no one broke a sweat. It was a nice, calm, easy game. It was a training match. Didn't have
I thought you'd lost your fucking marbles there for a second.
Didn't have to make any subs. They all played, but like no one really. Like KDB at one stage looked like he wanted to get his team going, and then he realized, oh, we have to. Sorry, slow it down here now. That was the slowest paced game I've ever seen. So they're all going to be fine midweek, and I just think it's a case that they can't really afford many slip ups. They're dropping points, and the league is there. Every team is dropping points. They're, what are they, 9th? But they're only 6 points off the top. They kind of have to go for it, and they don't want to lose. They want to get some momentum. They don't want to keep losing momentum. So I think he'll play his strongest team somewhat of his strongest team against West Brom. I think he'll start Jesus. I think he'll start KDB. Don't know about Cancelo, because maybe you can rotate in the fullback position, but I think he'll play. I think he might play Mendy. I think Cancelo could be due a rest. But
I
KDB
think
and
Mendy's
Jesus, I think will play.
nearly guaranteed a game midweek. I suppose, like, again, we're supposed to be looking at game week 13, game week 14. I know Gavin's asking specifically about the West Brom game, but the
Yeah.
way I'm approaching it for this round of midweek fixtures is I'm just kind of letting this one wash over me a little bit. If I had any particular fires to put out, I'd have no issue doing it, but in terms of like rotation and shit, that's going to happen this week. It's going to be hard to call, and I'm not letting that dictate my overall team. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of maybe my captain decision might be influenced by it, but transfers and my plans and stuff, I'm not letting that be influenced by the rotation that's very specific to this part of the season. You know, it's not a real game changer thing.
They've enough time. I think, like, they played on Saturday, right? They played Saturday at 5 o'clock against United. Now they're playing Tuesday at 8, and then they have a big break between Tuesday and Saturday. So they have like an extra rest day between the West Brom and Southampton game. The United game wasn't high tempo. I think he can just not worry about rotating players then, because they've got a week off between game week 14 and game week 15. You know, they've got like a full week there. So I think there's plenty of time. I don't think KDB is going to be. Yeah, he could get rested over Christmas sometime, but that could happen against. That could happen New Year's. That could happen the 28th or something like that. I'm just going to play him and assume that they're like, if they're winning, then KDB doesn't come off the bench or Jesus doesn't come off the bench. Like, Jesus will play because Aguero isn't fit enough yet to play.
That's what I'm saying.
Even 45 minutes, I think. So he's always going to come off the bench.
Yeah, I think we're of a similar mindset there, Seamus. But yeah, in general, if you want to take, this sounds so pompous, but if you want to take your FPL to the next level, there are people out there who look at the gaps between the fixtures over the kind of congested period, and again, shilling the scout, but I'm pretty sure what I saw came through the scout from someone related to it. But if you just look for, time between matches and stuff like that, FPL, you're going to find some pretty decent little, what would you call them, Seamus? Excel sheets or something like that. Is that what they even use anymore? Is it all Google now?
Maybe
I don't know.
Google Excel. Yeah, no, it's all Excel.
I don't know. Last question. Oh, no, it's not the last question. Second last question. The last one we have on the social media comes in from FPL Rogue, at FPL Rogue. Have I missed the deadline? Nope, you haven't. And that's it. That's the end of the drunk. No, I'm kidding. He asks, if not then, which is better? What? Oh, if he hasn't missed the deadline, which is better? Premium defender plus non-playing second keeper, or budget defender plus budget playing second keeper for double game week 19? Now, he's getting ahead. So, Rogue, I don't know if you're familiar with, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are, but if you aren't, you should check out his blog at FPL, or it's not at FPL, but it's at Rogue Against the Machine blogspot. Check out his Twitter handle at FPL Rogue. He's got links in the bio. But I thought it was well written. Seamus got confused, but either way, it's very, I'm planning ahead. Double game week 19. You've alluded to it already, and yeah,
I misread it. I thought he was asking which premium defender.
Yeah.
Which
give us a second.
Like, the fixtures aren't even out. Where is he coming from? It's like, Jesus Christ! Like, I'm not answering this, sure. I'm not answering this. And then Joe was like, no, he's just wondering which is a better option. I was like, oh, okay. I can answer that.
being a big diva. And to be honest with you, if you had been asking that kind of question, I think both of us would have been like, oh. But yeah, premium. I looked at this a bit more generally. Seamus didn't. I think he was a bit more specific on it, but like, he made a good point. But in my terms, looking at it right there, premium defender, non-playing second keeper, or budget defense, budget playing second keeper, I'm all about the premium defender, non-playing second keeper, because that's just my tactic. Why would I advocate for anything else? But as Seamus pointed out to me, you're specifically talking about the upcoming double game week, in which case people are going to be looking at their chips. And you made a couple of good points there, Seamus, regarding that, and how that would affect your strategy.
It's all about chip strategy. So if you're going to bench boost that week, then you want a second playing keeper. So you can't go for your first option, premium defender, non-playing second keeper. But, I mean, you don't have to play your bench boost this week. I mean, it depends if you've got a wild card or if you're going to, because the wild card, if you already have it, has to be used in game week 16. So chances are, if you've still got it now, you're going to play it that week to try and attack whatever fixtures come out that week. That gives you plenty of time to, because we can't get players in just yet because it hasn't been announced who's got the double game weeks and who's going to have the blanks in game week 18. So game week 18 is the one we're probably going to free hit in.
Yeah.
But like if you've got enough players in that, you could free hit in game week 19, or if you have it set up that way, the bench boost is the 19 is the premium, the optimum time to play your bench boost, I would say. You may want to triple captain. If you're triple captaining, then yeah, premium defender, non-playing second keeper. If you're going to bench boost, budget defender, budget playing second keeper. It's the way to do it. And keepers are always really good in these double game weeks. There's always a lot of high scoring keepers in these. So if you can get two double game week keepers, then you'll always see some double digit scores there. You imagine having two keepers getting you 11 and 12 points.
That sounds pretty close to superstition and witchcraft there, Seamus. So
no, I always think back. All you need is like a keeper to get like a 9-pointer or a 10-pointer one game, like which happens like with these cheap keepers. Like look at Martinez this week. Mezle did it a couple of weeks ago. Things like that. If they get that plus a 1, you're getting 12 points for a 4.5 keeper in a game week. If you get two keepers doing that, you could have 25 points from two cheapy keepers.
No, I get it. I think
I like that option.
For me, I'm all about keeping that premium defender, non-playing second keeper. But as Seamus said, if you have a chip strategy that allows you to kind of manipulate that, that's really going to be your deciding factor in that whole thing.
Don't make a decision just yet. Just keep it in the back of the mind. What you think you want to do when you see the fixtures, and then
Seamus, our information that we give to people is so fucking loaded that it takes time to digest. And I get, Rogue's forward thinking here. I'm fully in support of it. He just wanted to get ahead, get into the best, and get their thoughts on it before, his mind maybe gets cluttered with some of the other plebeian responses that might have been issued to that. I'm just vamping while I pull up our last question. It comes from our very... it's so irritating because I'm trying not to step on the Renegades thing every time I do the question, and it just throws me off every time I want to say something nice about someone. I'm going, no. Glenn, big listener, fan, supporter, friend to myself and Seamus, and he's asked us this week. No, I did actually prep his team. Oh, look at me. But his question is, what's your opinion on Laporte and Pulisic? Should I downgrade one for a premium? Jota is going to have to be transferred as well. So I actually do have his team there. It's just too good. Bit of a shite week. 48 points, -4. Is that this? Yeah, that's his team. 48 points, -4. And he's obviously looking to make amends. Pulisic, Laporte, both sitting there. A bit unlucky with Pulisic this week, I think. On Friday night, thought it was maybe a shrewd move. And I was completely wrong. It didn't even make the squad.
I was going to say, was he in the squad? He wasn't, was he?
No, he wasn't. So a bit of a pulled up with something. Hopefully, I haven't checked the conferences, but this is a 2-week thing, so I'd imagine it's not too serious. The only issue with Pulisic is, we know his injury record, and with, as we already mentioned, the big fucking congested fixtures list, you're expecting players like that are going to be kind of top of Lampard's priority for resting. But going back to Glenn's question, he's basically looking at shipping Laporte and Pulisic, and I think Jota, I wouldn't. We both basically looked at me and went, no, you've done it now. They're there, especially with the kind of the really fast fixtures coming up. You need to just see what way the dust starts settling after these. Jota out, as you mentioned already, that's your move this week. There's your one transfer. Jota down to Seamus. Who are we going to turn Jota into?
Souček.
You got it. Shout out to Souček. And then you've got yourself a few bob, and maybe then look at what you can do with Pulisic in a week or two. Because you're turning Pulisic into a 10-point odds million midfielder. Do you know what I mean? So you don't have any United cover there. You're not a million miles away from getting a Fernandez in, or maybe another premium, which is what he's asking about. Should I downgrade one for a premium? I don't even know how necessary that is if you just downgrade Jota and then upgrade Pulisic. Yeah, no, that is what he's saying. So for me, Laporte and Pulisic can sit there. I'd be playing both of them this week. Chelsea at home to, that's game week 18, but Chelsea at home to away to fucking Wolves. Chelsea away to Wolves, and Laporte. He, as we said, is due a start. I'd definitely be playing him at home to West Brom this week. So for me, I'm with Seamus. Like, I'm not getting rid of either of them. Jota, sort that shit out. He's out for a good long chunk now. So let that be your focus and stop taking hits.
Yeah, I think it said 4 to 6 weeks for Jota. So yeah, get rid of Jota. Yeah, just keep Pulisic. He got him in this week for Ziyech when Ziyech went off injured. I think you just ride with that. There has been an update. Lampard has said that he is available for selection, but he hasn't decided whether he'll start or play. But he's available for selection. So for this next 2 games, Wolves away, West Ham at home. And there is a bit of a gap. He didn't play this weekend, so he should be okay for Tuesday. And then there's he plays Monday as well in Gameweek 14. So he's got 6 days rest. So he should be able to play both. I stick with Pulisic anyway, but yeah, Jota. If you want a premium, he's got Kane, Son, and De Bruyne, so those are the 3 he has. Yeah. You can't have those 3 plus Salah and Bruno as well. You can maybe get one of those in, but he's got Grealish too. Yeah, but you can definitely. If you downgrade Jota to Souček, then Pulisic could be your
pretty
guy.
Much close to Fernandes.
That's the only way to do it. Yeah, for Fernandes.
That's what I'd be looking at.
I would.
But look, as we said,
I don't know if I'd have Pulisic in the first place, but he has him there, so maybe if I had him, I'd keep him. But Laporte, I would look to sell personally. I don't know about this week. I just sell Laporte. He's not starting now. He's on the bench.
Fair enough.
I'd sell, but yeah, he's only got 1 transfer. So what do you do?
Yeah, and just as a caveat, he's in our private mini league, so every bit of information we just gave him there was completely loaded and meant to be taken.
Yeah, he can't. He can't. He's only 20 points behind me. I don't actually want him to catch me.
You should not be helping him, Seamus. I'm sorry. But so that brings an end to this week's questions. But it doesn't bring an end to the show just yet. Ye regular listeners, it's dragging out the word ye there, but ye regular listeners will have remembered from maybe 4 episodes ago. No, it's exactly 4 episodes ago that we did a balls to the wall kind of return to the classic balls to the wall, and you're welcome, guys, because guess what, it's back this week.
We can actually talk about the results. So we're doing 4-week sections, right?
4-week sections, baby. And let's remind anyone who didn't catch it, or let's tell people who didn't catch it and remind anyone who did catch it of what our picks were, Seamus. So for your Breen sheet, Seamus, you chose
we're starting with the Breen sheets. So Breen sheets, I went with Justin. I like Leicester's fixtures between what would have been game week 9 and 12.
Hot shot.
My hot shot was Jack Grealish. Now I thought he had 4 games. Turns out he only had 3.
And your puck fada?
So my puck fada was Richarlison for Everton. I liked Everton's fixtures over those games too.
That's pretty. Some all of those picks make sense. My Breen sheet was Gaeta. My hot shot was Vardy, and my puck fada was Jesus. So when you did the maths, Seamus, you put it into a fancy machine. I don't know how they work, but you pulled out the results and
a Casio calculator. Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
That's the fancy machine I put it into.
Fair enough.
But Vardy's 2 + 5 + 8 + 13 equals 28 points over that 4-week spell. So that's averaging 7 points a game week, which is a great return for him. Thankfully, I've had him in that spell. And Grealish, by comparison, has only had 3 games. He had 1 + a 10 + a 2, and game week cancelled. So he'll have a double further down the line. So his Vardy's 28 points to Grealish's 13 is the winner in that one. So congratulations to you on that one, Jer, for the hot
emphasis in it, will you? God, you're like a wet fish over there. Come on, showmanship.
Okay. Puck fadas. You had Jesus. Yeah, pretty much a fucking fail there, Jer. 11 points over his 4 game weeks. 2 + 5 + 2 + 2. He got an assist in a 5-0 win against Burnley. That's kind of pretty poor if you took the punt on him. I'm much happier I went with my Vardy punt, who got 17 more points that week. My puck fada was actually another forward, and that was Richarlison. And he had an assist, so he had 5 points + 2 + 7, and he'd have only 1 in the last game. Now, a bit unlucky because he was the penalty taker, and now Gylfi Sigurdsson's starting, so he's lost penalties. So I had thought he might get a penalty or 2 in that when I picked him originally. So he got 15 points, which is still better than Jesus. over those 4 game weeks. So a win for me.
Okay, so who wins overall, Seamus? Who's going into
Comes down
the
to,
second bunch? Go on.
comes down to the green sheets, and if you want to be relying on someone, don't be relying on Gaeta with his 3+2+3+3. Now he's fairly consistent, but he hasn't got a clean sheet in those 4, so he's only got 11 points. Justin, my point on the other hand, was doing terrible until this game.
Yeah, I was about to say like 3+3. What was the fuck was Justin getting?
0+1+2.
Fuck you! Oh my god.
So yeah, well, I didn't. I knew the Liverpool game was a hard one, so in my FPL team I benched him for his 0 points that week. But yeah, it was poor the other couple of weeks. I would have definitely thought Sheffield United he had a clean sheet there, so he didn't. But he did keep a clean sheet against Brighton, as well as picking up an assist and taking 2 bonus.
I'm happy you've won something this week, Seamus. Going forward for the next 4 weeks, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so we're talking game weeks 13 to 6, and you had your first pick on the hot shots this time, as I had first pick last time. I picked Grealish. My first pick last week time,
and I have pretty much done the same thing, and I picked Grealish this time. Is that correct?
Yeah, you and I can't blame you. I mean, he's got this is why he's in my team. You don't have him in your team. I think there's a
little bit of envy in there, like a bit of like I want to hedge my bet and pick someone like I did last time, someone I knew I'm going to be fretting about and who I think can actually deliver. And I'm going with Grealish. Who's your hot shot, Seamus?
I've gone for De Bruyne. Look, De Bruyne is playing West Brom, then Southampton away, then Newcastle home, and then Everton away. And I think he can get double-digit returns in any of those games. So, yeah, he's the player I have in my team. He's still relatively lowly owned. Let me just check his ownership here. 26% owned. I think he's the player to get on. He'll be my captain this week because if everyone has him captain, that's only still 50%, effective ownership. So yeah, he'll probably be my captain this week, and I'm going to back him probably with the armband 2 of the next 4.
So fair enough. It makes sense that he would be your hot shot. What about your puck fadas? So I went first with the hot shots. You would have went first with the puck fadas or long shots to the non-Gaelic speaking. But go on.
Yeah, there was a few I was lining up here. I went with Pulisic in the end. Now, we talked about Pulisic earlier. He is a risk in the sense that I don't know if he can...
He's a puck fodder, though.
...play all those games, but that's the definition of a puck fodder. He's only 2.4% owned. He's 8.2%. If you wanted to try someone else other than Son for a while, you could go there. I mean, ultimately, we're handcuffed here that has to be under 5% owned. There's not too many guys that are under 5% owned.
But there is one other guy at least, and I've gone with Saeed Benrahma. I don't know what it is. It's West Ham heavy tonight, but he's again complete definition of a differential or a puck fodder. They've got Crystal Palace, a tough away to Chelsea, but then a nice home to Brighton and the Southampton match. After that, I feel like Benrahma looked pretty solid. It depends on obviously how long. Antonio is out of the team and what happens. Are they going to keep playing that back 4 with the extra attacker? And, it looks like Masuaku, who was a bit of a shock injury towards the end of the last game week, he's going to be out for a little bit of time at least. I mean, I assume.
He had knee surgery, so yeah, he's going to be out for like minimum 6 to 8 weeks, I would imagine. And he's got to return to... He could miss the rest of the season, I was told, but...
So
yeah,
maybe
you like what you saw with Benrahma when you've watched him?
I liked it. There's not a whole lot. I think it was his first start there at the weekend. I think what it mainly has got me interested is just that kind of shift in formation, and I'm thinking like, okay, maybe like that's going to benefit something. But yeah, puck fodder, Saeed Benrahma, he's real cheap and really lowly owned. Brilliant sheet, Seamus. Who have we got?
I won last week, so I'm going first. Charlie Taylor for Burnley, and I'm thinking of bringing him into my team either this week or maybe next week. Because I need to shore up. I've got players there that are not playing. I've got Dunn for Burnley, for example. I've got Stevens, who's I think returning from injury now. He's trained this week, but like he's going to be my last guy. So I need to get the fringes of my team running, because if there's rotation this week, I can really only take one non-playing player, because I don't think Dunn definitely won't play, and Stevens probably won't play either. So I've got Brewster as my first on bench.
That makes sense.
So I'm thinking of making Dunn Charlie Taylor. I might just wait till next week.
Yeah, Aston Villa, Wolves, Leeds, and Sheffield United in the next 4. So I think with the exception of Leeds and maybe Villa, pretty good shouts. Wolves pretty toothless, and we know what the story with Sheffield United has been for the last season since the season has started. So Burnley making a load of sense. I've gone with Meslier. I'm backing my own choice. He's in my team. He was the one I alluded to earlier on when I made that change from Martinez to Meslier, which allowed me to get then Masuaku into target this week. So I still caught a bit of that clean sheet, even though it wasn't the 11-point return. But he's got Newcastle, Man United, Burnley, and West Brom in the next 4 matches. I genuinely feel like they could, win 3 of those 4 quite easily.
Yeah. If I thought they could. If I was confident in their defense more.
What? You worried about Newcastle, Burnley, and West Brom scoring from set pieces? Get out of town, Chaz.
Oh shit, that's very good. Yeah, the set pieces thing. I mean, I don't know about West Brom. I haven't looked at their stats, but certainly Burnley are good at set pieces.
Burnley and Newcastle,
Newcastle.
Yeah, it's
so that's. But at least he's got save points there. Like I was looking originally a few weeks ago. I was looking at Ayling and Dallas in this point, and then I was like, I don't know. They're either keeping a clean sheet or they're conceding 4. So it's like 0 or 6. Yeah. And those Ayling and Dallas are the 2 I would look at because they're the kind of guys that might get attacking returns. Dallas is often out of position. Ayling could be playing center half now again, depending on Cooper and Llorente and players like that who are kind of out injured. So yeah, I went for the safer option. What I thought is a safer option because Pope is making saves again. So I think Taylor is the guy I'm probably going to get in. I saw you got in a target this week as well, which was you kind of did the same thing where you were shoring up your defense, and I like that target move. I had him at the start of the season and got me 2 clean sheets in 2 before I shipped him out. Probably should have kept him.
Yeah. No, I mean,
he's a good pick. I like that. He got you a clean sheet this week as well, didn't he?
He did. He also picked up a yellow card though, and that means he's now 1 away from a suspension. So it's a bit annoying to be having a defender walking the tightrope so soon after bringing him in. But I'm fine with that. If he misses a match, look, he's probably going to get arrested in one of them anyway. He's a fullback, so he's got to be somewhat tired. So yeah, I'm not too worried. But yeah, I was happy with the target move. As I said, it sweetened the Martinez blow a little bit because as I said I was one of the ones who used the transfer. But I'm happy. You talked about for Dallas nailing, it's either 6 points or 0 or 1. I completely get you, and I find with Meslier he's picking up so many goddamn save points. Like before West Ham scored their second, he was on for a bonus. Do you know what I mean? So he could have been coming out of that game with 4 points after conceding a goal. Do you know? So and it was the same last week against Chelsea. Like he just, I don't know. I like the look of that kid as well. I think he's got. He's still green, but I like watching him, and I like having.
We can update goalkeeper watch right now to see what's the scoring with the goalkeepers. So you've got Fabianski on 58 points, Lloris 56, Martinez 53.
We don't have time, Seamus.
McCarthy 50, and where's Meslier? He's a point behind McCarthy and 49 points.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like he's not fucking miles behind the goalkeepers, even though Leeds aren't exactly shored up back there.
21 saves in the last 3 games. 21 saves in 3 game weeks.
I feel like he's
tons of saves.
Yeah, I like watching him, But yeah, that's our picks. I think that we just did a bit of balls to the wall there. It's so strange doing it every month or so now. It just doesn't roll off the tongue, Seamus, as much. But we're coming rapidly close to the end of the show, ladies and gents, and before we go, there's only one thing left to do. It's just run down through our mini league. Now, ye will remember, those who listened last week, you will remember that I was being a bit of a, I don't know.
Cunt?
Cunt is a bit strong. I mean, I can be far more cuntish than I was last week. But I was definitely being fucking awkward. I'll tell you that much. And I suppose sorry, I just got distracted there. But it's so many screens. But yeah, basically, I was being a bit awkward. Some guy had just joined our league, Ken Corbally, Ken Trogs FC had just joined the league. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And, by the end of the episode, I was like, look, turns out he does listen to the show and it'll be all grand. And then you said, let's give whoever's on top a cup. And I was like, no, this guy, I'm not entirely convinced yet. He turns out he reaches out to us on YouTube, sends a very nice comment, basically just reassuring us that he does listen to the show and that, that he basically wouldn't have wanted to take a mug off of regular listeners or whatever that case is. And yeah, it melted my heart. And as soon as I saw that this person was real and not just some random bot, I just sent him a message and said, look, send us on your email or your address via email, and there's a cup coming right to you. That's what happened. He wrote us a lovely email. I'm butchering the story a little bit, but I think that's because I'm so distracted by the shit in front of me. But he wrote a lovely email talking about how he enjoys the show, and that that meant a lot to us, Ken. And shit like that always means a lot, and really, I don't know, motivates us to keep this shit going forward. But he's not even on the screen here because of whatever way I've set up the thing. I don't even know if I can fix it. But our top... There it is. I'll pull him down this way.
He's still top anyway.
He's still top. Ken is still top. 800 points in total. 56 in this game week. Number 2, Damien McCallie in Dunphy 11. He's still right up there. 65.779. Only 21 between the two. Devendra Ray moving into third place. We live in Earth 616. He's got 70 points this week. Ian Walsh, Fish and Chips, 754, 70 points. 5, Andrew. FPL Renegades, Drew, 752 points, 62 this week. 6, Tony Clark, Clarky's County, 7049, 60 points this week. Camarul Arifin, Flying Without Ings, 748, 59. In 8th position, joint 8th position, it's Paddy Pad, the Tita Suarez, and Peter Scully in the Orgazoids. They both got 59 and 69 points respectively this week. They're on 740. And in number 10, Seamus, I don't know if you can see that from your end, but in number 10, joint 10th, I will say, but number 10 nonetheless, is the FPL Hangover. Myself, I've crept into the top 10 of my very own podcast mini league.
I was wondering why you did the top 10 this week and not the top 5.
Yeah, I had to get down to 10, Seamus. I had to get down. So I'm right up there. And
fair play.
Oh yeah, and I'm not like.
Well, look, if you get to the top, then we can save ourselves, postage. We can start. I can give you one of these mugs here at the end of the season. We can save us sending out a prize. We could actually save money here with the Bitcoin. We could really start to roll on it now.
I told you, Seamus, this was our year, 2020. Nothing has gone wrong all year. It's been constant positive success, and it's the good times are going to keep on rolling for us here in the FPL Hangover studio.
Let nothing change.
Let nothing change.
I have one other announcement actually.
Okay. You bought another house.
That is, I just had a look, and we haven't done this in a while, and we have a manager of the week.
What?
We haven't announced. Yeah. So this week, we should announce we'd have a massive score of 86. That's a really. I haven't seen too many people in the 80s. Callum O'Donnell has got 86 points. Now he was heavy on Leicester. He had Maddison, who got 16 points. Captain Vardy, Justin, Walker, Konza, De Gea, Son, and Bamford. Huge amount of points. Game week rank of 18k overall this week. Just a game week rank. Yeah, he's doing terribly overall. He's 3.9 million. But fair play to Colin. You are this week's manager of the week.
I hope you enjoyed that, lads. And I hope you enjoyed episode 95. There is going to be something special in the works for episode 100. So keep your ears pricked. Seamus, you've got all the nasty details to take us home.
The not so nasty details. Yeah, look. First of all, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. If you're not, you want to see our pretty faces, get onto youtube.com, follow the FPL Hangover podcast channel on that. Subscribe and like any videos you watch. And make sure you comment if you have anything positive to say. If not, keep it yourself. If you have anything negative to say, get on Twitter. That's where you can say the negative stuff. So at FPL Hangover, I'm at FPL Drunk. If you want to abuse me instead of the pod itself, yours at the FPL Hangover. You can also go old-fashioned with email, which is fplhangover@gmail.com. Anything I'm omitting, Jer?
Nope, you're all good, Seamus. I think we can leave it there, folks. Most importantly, though, enjoy Game Week 13 and 14. God bless.